Hello fellow plant people, welcome back if you're returning, and if you are new, my name is Jen. I go by the Leafy Geek here, also on Instagram. So today I wanted to show you kind of an update on some of my smaller Hoya. The dream is to nurture and promote growth with your Hoyas and end up with this big, beautiful vining plant. But we all start somewhere, and right now it seems a lot of Hoyas are only available as starter plants. So I thought I would just give you a little bit of a tour on the status of how some of my small Hoyas are doing and what I am trying to help foster and promote their growth. We're getting late in the season here. I don't think they are going to necessarily be doing much more growing unless by some miracle some of them will accept the grow light situation I have in my house. It's kind of a hit or miss with that, but I just wanted to show you some of my baby Hoyas that are in progress. They are working on their best selves and will someday, hopefully, fingers crossed, with a little bit of attention and a little bit of care, they will be big, beautiful plants as well.
Okay, I figured the best place to start is probably my propagation box, mainly just because anything and everything that I'm trying to root is in this box, which includes quite a few Hoya, but I also have some Hoyas in here that are just kind of recuperating just that extra humidity boost and light boost from this grow lamp. I feel like is helpful, and I've noticed that helping several of them that were, new, kind of struggling to acclimate a little bit. So that's kind of what I've got going on in here. So I do have some cuttings that I'm rooting from some of my existing Hoya. So over there I've got a couple of containers of Hoya Bella that are rooting right there. Then in this corner over here, I still have my Hoya Ranauensis that I had ordered from Glasshouse Works. And this was rooting really well. I had it in sphagnum moss instead of water. As you can see, I made a change, and that was because it seems that I made an error and I left the cuttings in the sphagnum too long. They were growing roots, but slowly, and the roots weren't very big yet. So I had opted to leave them in the sphagnum for a little bit longer, and at some point they rotted off. So was kind of restarting the process there. I don't really know how they're doing. I haven't checked on them in a few days. Looks like we might have some roots. So yeah, that was just kind of a do-over. I was not super hopeful that this would kind of be as forgiving as it has been, so that's great. Looks like there are roots happening. Water is my preferred propagation method. So you'll see most of my cuttings in here, with the exception of the succulents down under this plastic plate. Most of these guys, the cuttings actually anyway, are in water. And I tried the sphagnum moss thing. I can see how it works, but I'm, just kind of planning moving forward on sticking to what I know and what works for me. So I do have another cutting over here. This is Hoya Petite Chiang Mai. This was not a cutting. Well, it was technically rooted when it came to me, but it declined, and I noticed that it had root rot upon arrival. So I am attempting to reroot it, and it looks like we might have some roots going on, kind of on a different part of that node, so that's cool. Might save this one. Not entirely sure how that's going to go, but thought I'd give it a try because I really don't want to lose this one. Then I also have some newer acquisitions right here. This is Hoya Neocaledonica. These ones with these little white labels I got from Secret Garden, Rare Plants. This is probably these two are probably of my newer order I think my most recent order from Secret Garden. These two came in. So I have Neocaledonica, it's endemic to the island of New Caledonia. And then Hoya micrantha. I picked one of those up too. And then of course I still have my pride and joy here. This is my #1 wish list plant that I also got from Secret Garden. This is Hoya Finlaysonii. Doing really well, rebounding really nicely. I'll probably be able to move this out of the grow box soon. And then over there, this little guy, this is my Hoya elliptica. And I put this one in here because it was really struggling outside of any sort of grow box, just in my home. It was struggling pretty hard. As you can see, I had to, these two leaves aren't super pretty, but this leaf, let's see if I can do this. This one right here is new since putting it in this grow box. Ooh, I definitely need to water this. So that leaf is new, that top leaf, and then it has 2 more that are developing. So I'm going to leave this one in this box for a little bit, just because I think it's really appreciating the humidity and the constant light source. So just get it on its feet. It was very, very, very small when it arrived. And I think that's all of the Hoya I have in here. As you can see, I have some philodendron and Scindapsus cuttings over here, rando veldegrape, the Cissus quadrangularis. So that's kind of what's going on in here. Oh, and a Discidia cutting. That's what's left of my variegated Discidia million hearts. But yeah, so these little guys are doing quite well. The ones in soil I do have to water, and there's enough with the water propagations in here that it maintains a pretty good level of humidity. So I don't really have any separate bottles or dishes of water in this. It seems to kind of self-humidify pretty well. Okay, this is just across the way from my propagation box that's sitting on my office table. So this is kind of the half wall with my breakfast bar, so kitchen. And this is a bookshelf that is right under a grow light. I strategically put this aspect light here because I like the cast of the light, and I like the fact that I can set plants here. It's more of an interior space. It's pretty far away from a window. I don't know, I'd say like at least 8 feet away from a north-facing window. So grow light necessary, but it's dual purpose. And I have a few little Hoya hanging out here. This is kind of a transition or staging area too, in a way, for some of the propagations that kind of graduated from the propagation box and were hanging out in their own little space, like this Hoya carnosa compacta. But this, stuff like this, I will probably plant back into the pot where my larger compacta is. So I have a larger green Carnosa compacta. This was a cutting that I salvaged from a second Carnosa compacta that I had ordered and did not make it, but this little piece did. So it's been hanging on. I feel like it deserves to be planted with its larger little counterpart there. So that's probably where this is going to go. I've done that with a few Hoya cuttings that had successfully rooted. I kind of graduated them out of the grow box. They had their own space for a little while, like acclimatizing to my house, to the conditions in my home, and then putting them back where they belonged. This little one, not entirely sure yet still what it is. Pretty sure it's some sort of Hoya, just from the grow pattern on it. It doesn't really remind me of a Discidia grow pattern, but I don't know what this is. It was a mystery cutting that arrived with an Etsy order, God, like a year ago now. So slow growing for sure, but the roots are healthy. These leaves are new. I think it put on 3 leaves, 4, well, no, would have been all of these except for 1 leaf. It was a 1-leafed cutting when it came to me. So Took its sweet time, but it's now doing something. It's pretty cool. So yeah, if you have any idea what this might look like, I know it's, or you know, what it resembles. I know it's hard to identify Hoyas without the blooms, but if you have any ideas, I'm open to them. I'd really like to figure out what this one is. And then over here, have Hoya sigillatus. This is my little sigillatus. This was a cutting. I had several cuttings, only one made it, and it was this one. And so it has been in this spot since I determined that it wasn't a good idea for me to move it. And it's put on 3 or 4 leaves. I can't remember if it only had 1 or 2. I think it only had 1. So these are the newest leaves right here, and it still has an active grow point at the top. So that's pretty neat. I technically still have sigillatus. Then right here, this lovely little guy is Hoya I received from a friend on Instagram. Jaya's Jungle is her handle. I will link that in the description below. She's got a really cool channel, very Hoya-centric, which is awesome. So this is my Blachernasii subspecies Ciaria, and it's been doing really well. Little grow point. It did start to grow a leaf, and then it blasted. The leaf fell off. But the grow point is still active, so I'm not too worried. I'm just letting it do its thing. And it's looking really good. I'm really happy to have this one. Thanks, Ami. Then over here, this is my Hoya elagiorum. This is included in my small Hoya collection because this was a larger one that I had picked up a while back. I think it was from Logi's. Probably over a year ago, and it started to decline pretty significantly over the winter last year. And so I kind of took desperate measures to try and save it. I took cuttings. They really struggled to root, but I did get these 2 to go to root. And as you can see, it's doing pretty good. So I have this vine that it decided to throw out, and then this is a new leaf off of that cutting. And then this one's been a little bit slower. It has this really solid leaf and then a new grow point right there. So that's cool. Little lacunosa cutting. Not from my plant. I actually got this one off of, it's a funny story. I got this one off of Pepper's Greenhouse's website. It was billed as under a different name, and I didn't make the connection that this was actually a lacunosa. So I have a larger lacunosa already, but you know, whatever, it's cute, and it wasn't that much. So moving right along here, this is a new acquisition. This was featured in one of my recent videos. This is a Discidia, a Dragon Jade Discidia. So I got that potted up, and it's hanging on, acclimating nicely. And then over here is my collection from Unsolicited Plant Talks. I have 6 Hoya right here. They're doing okay. I'm trying to decide if I need to repot them before the winter. Probably don't want to. So I have Hoya Spa species right here. This hasn't done much. It still has the 1 leaf. The stem is still alive, so I don't know. I might actually move this into the propagation box just to see if it needs a little bit more of a boost than what it's getting right here. Aldrichii right here, looking pretty good. Have a little grow point right there, that little nub, but it hasn't done a whole lot. It's okay. Then I have Lucardinasiana, I think that's how you say this one, which has been thrown out. It threw a vine out, which is cool. And these leaves, which is also cool. And this one, I think this is the Mindorensis. Yep, the red star. And that one threw a vine out too. Over here is the Lemoniaca. Not doing a whole lot. It's okay. Might put this one in the propagation box too. Just to see. I mean, you know, if you gotta move your plants around, you gotta move your plants around, see where they're happiest. And these two just might not be the most ideal conditions for them right here in this corner. Then right here is my Hoya coronaria. And this one was growing pretty well. I see I have a yellowing leaf, so I'm going to take a look at what might be causing that. It is a lower leaf, so I'm just going to check the soil and make sure everything's looking okay on it. But that one's an active grower. So now we are on the flip side. This is the other side of my breakfast bar half wall area from where we just were. And I have quite a few Hoya over here as well. So this is my little Hoya Loharai. This was a wish lister that I got from Secret Garden. And yeah, just really love this little guy. He's really cute. There are 2 active grow points on him. Haven't seen any growth, but he's still acclimating, so that's probably okay. And then I do have 3 more that I recently repotted. These are also from Secret Garden. And so this is Hoya revolubilis, looking pretty good. And yeah, just a solid plant. Can't complain. And then this is Hoya obscura major. The variety is major. And I think I have 2 active grow points on this as well. So that's pretty neat. I really love the leaves on this one too. Then I have Hoya parasitica, and this one is okay. It's not really doing a whole lot. I know there are a couple of vines on it, but it has been a slow grower. All of the leaves are intact though, so that's good, and the vines are alive, no dieback, so that's good too. And then, yeah, I might as well show you these guys. I know you've seen them in a couple of videos, but I'm just really proud of them, especially this one, my Hoya australis lisa. The 2 new red leaves on that, indicating it is still growing. And yeah, I just kind of leave it alone. I keep it on this table and just let it do its thing, and I have not been disappointed by Lisa. And then over here, this is my other wish list plant on this table. This is Hoya marillii with that 1 new leaf that grew in my care. It does still have the active grow point on it too. Oh, there is one more that I do want to show you. This beautiful plant is Hoya Ranauensis. I got this one from another Instagram friend. This is from Urban Jungle MSP. So thank you, James, for this beautiful specimen. It's the look and the texture and the patterning of the leaves, it's very similar to Hoya finlaysonii, which I was excited for because that is my #1 wish list plant. But haven't seen a whole lot of growth out of this one, but that's okay. I think that it's probably a slower grower just from the look of it and my experience with Hoya with similar stem, the woodier stems. So I'm excited to see what that one's going to do. It's still doing quite well. So that's pretty much it for the small Hoyas on this table. I have 2 plants right here that are rooted cuttings that I rooted from Glasshouse Works. I don't really consider them small anymore. They're quite large and the roots were pretty substantial, so I kind of consider them plants at this point. Oh, this is, yeah. So this is my fungus gnat trap. It's just straight coffee. I found that works pretty well in attracting them. So anyway, that is my breakfast bar area. And I really, really love all of the plants that I have over here. So now I'm in my plant room, and as you can see, it's pretty sunny. And it's also a little bit foggy in here. I had a humidifier running in my other room that I forgot about, and so film quality might not be ideal. but I did want to just quick show you the one kind of small Hoya that I have in this room. So this was a cutting that I had received from, oh, where did I get this one? I think it was Coco Ranch. And this was kind of a do-over one as well. I had rooted it successfully. It was in the rooting medium a little bit too long, and the roots fell off. So I had to start over, and I had to trim down the cuttings again, and was worried that second time that I wasn't gonna have Hoya Spa India anymore. But that went well the second time too, and I caught it in time and potted it up, and now we have healthy plants with active growth points on both of these little cuttings right here. So as you can see, this was a new leaf, and this one was the newest leaf. I think this was the original for that particular cutting, and I think even this one might have just been a stick. It might have just been the stem. So really lucked out there. So that is Hoya Spa India.
So that's it. Thank you guys for watching. Thanks for coming along with me while I check on my sweet little ones. Hopefully things will maintain over winter. I'm not super optimistic that there will be, you know, noticeable growth on these guys. If they just maintain and survive the winter, I will be very happy. But hopefully, you know, that gives you a little bit of insight. If you're in the habit of ordering Hoyas online and you end up with a starter plant and you had visualized this big, beautiful, you know, multiple leafed vining plant, don't be alarmed. Don't be sad. With the right care and conditions, your Hoya will get there. So enjoy the rest of your day and week, and until next time, enjoy your plants.